Welcome to another edition of your Sunday Tonic conversation with the Love Crusader. Yeah. If you're coming across this platform for the first time, it's a platform where we talk about love, we talk about life, we talk about relationships, all in a fun way. So get ready for fun and learning. So yeah, it's a platform for fun and learning. We are live on YouTube. You can find us at Men Fences on YouTube or the Love Crusader. We've actually made it easier to find us on all of our platforms. So you can find us at the Love Crusader on YouTube, the Love Crusader on TikTok, the Love Crusader on Men Fences. It's the Love Crusader on Facebook. We are live on Instagram and we are live right now on Facebook and YouTube. Connect with us on any of the channels. And please remember to share with your friends and family. Like I always say, so one or two lessons here could save a relationship. All right. I'm not alone in the house today. My co-host TT Lion is in the house. Uh,
Hello. It's good to be here again.
yeah. She does not need introduction. If you're a regular, if you're not a regular, TT Lion is a powerhouse. She is a teacher, a mother, a wife, a pharmacist, a gbogbo anyone, just she's there. She's there. She's too much. Okay. And very soon you will understand why. When we start dishing out the wealth of wisdom that God has placed in her. Amen. Okay. I'm not saying amen like it is church. All right, let's go into it. We started a very interesting topic last week. It was heated, it was hot as expected because it's a topic that is always hot anytime they talk about it. And that is cheating and relationships. Once people hear cheating, in fact, the moment we start sharing the flyer and advertising, someone say, this one is going to be hot though because the word cheating, people hear it and they it's something that seems to happen all the time in relationships, and most cases people don't like to talk about it. So I like to call it the big elephant in the room. It's the second big elephant in the room that affects relationships, but people don't like to discuss it. So we're talking about it, and today we're continuing on that topic because 1 hour last week was not enough to do justice to it. So, like I said, share, connect, tell someone to join us here, and you'll be glad you did. All right, quick recap. Last week, we talked about the fact that every deceptive act in a relationship can be termed as cheating. And we try to break down what is called emotional adultery or emotional infidelity. And our guest last week, Barrister Yomi, she's a very good, she did justice to the topic actually. She was telling us about how she does not really believe in emotional infidelity. Maybe that's why she starts with it today. Do you believe in
Hmm.
emotional infidelity? Does it exist? Is it something you think is real?
I'm just wondering, what do you mean by emotional infidelity? Because when you begin to tag these things, all cheating are cheating. So when you now begin to separate and say emotional infidelity, isn't that some kind of cheating on its own? So I don't understand why it isn't cheating, because you are it's even worse because you are beginning to form that kind of bond, some form of attachment um with some other person. And when you people signed when you both signed the contract or the
Mm,
agreement or the
mm,
vows, the
mm,
plan was that it is you and I in this relationship. And we all know what relationship entails: financial, body, emotional. It's
mm,
all of you. So if you are
mhm,
saying that a part of me can bail out on this relationship, and find its place elsewhere, and that's
Mm.
fine. Then it's a bit tricky. There's a little bit of issue
I
there.
think where people find it a bit tricky is the fact that there's no physical, maybe there's no physical stepping out, but there's that one
But there's a
person.
bond. There's a something is being created, you know.
Yeah. And I think another gray area that she was trying to address last week was talking about the fact that some people think it's not possible to be friends with members of the opposite sex, and I think we've talked about this before this page. um we're not talking about just being having a friend that is a man and you're a woman. That doesn't mean you're emotionally cheating. But I try to break it down by saying that if that friendship that you have with that man or woman of the opposite sex is something that you have to hide from your partner, you have to lie, you have to delete texts, you have to hide the chats. I think for me, that is where I draw the line. That is when I now say, okay, yeah, there's deception here and cheating has occurred. But so where we really try to, and I don't want us to take the time today going back to what we said before. So please go watch last week's edition if you're interested in that conversation. Let's move on today because there were some questions and parts of the conversation we were supposed to deal with last week, which we couldn't get to because of time. So let's go there now. Why do people cheat? First question. Why?
Hmm.
Because this is always the question. And it's the person who asks the question most times is the person who's been cheated on. They're always
Mm-hmm.
asking why. Why? Why did my partner step out? Why did this happen to me? What is this person looking for? And they might even go ahead to start talking about, oh, I've been faithful. I've been doing all I can. I've been. That is where the question. So let's
Yeah.
try to see, because the list of why, I think, is a very long list. Let's try to see what we can put together as to why do people cheat? Why people cheat?
I think the reason is simple. If you want to just summarize it, because we are human beings and we are created for relationships. That's just the simple reason why um, people cheat. Because nobody is an island. You can't just be in this world and be on your own.
Mm,
You need to interact. You need to engage, not just with human beings. You need to engage with your environment.
mm,
You know, the world is fast becoming a global village,
mhm,
which has added to the problem. And you go out, come in, activities are going on. There's a lot of exchanges happening between
mm,
you and the people you are coming in contact with, and your
mm,
environment and your
mm,
mind.
mhm,
So all of the things you engage with have an impact on your mind, which
mhm,
is where the whole cheating thing starts from. It doesn't just start from the physical; it starts from the people, socially, physically, even spiritually that you engage with,
mhm,
right? So that's just the simple reason. And I'm sure we've heard it 1,001 times. When people cheat, they tell the person that's been cheated on that it's not your fault. And that's the
mm,
simple truth. No matter what happens, even if you are the reason, you are the bad person in the relationship,
mm.
um, you can never take responsibility for someone else's action. We are still responsible for our actions. And that's
Yeah.
not to say that you can't push someone by your actions to cheat. But at the end of the day, the ultimate responsibility or decision still lies with each individual. So, yeah, people cheat because we are human beings and we engage. We are created to
But,
engage.
but okay, let's come back to it. Isn't that the engagement you're supposed to get from your spouse? Because there's no cheating if there's no relationship. So we're talking about maybe you're married or you're in a committed relationship, and then you step out of the relationship.
Yeah,
Now
that's why it's
that need to relate that we have as human being, isn't that
mm,
the void that your partner is supposed to be feeling?
yeah, that's your partner is supposed to feel part of it. You know, we as human beings, we are kind of it's the way we've been created. Your partner is supposed to feel part of it. That's why when you get married, your life does not stop. You still have to work, you still have to keep other relationship as in friends. You still have to keep siblings. That's why you don't just get married and die.
Relationships,
You know,
yes.
exactly. So your partner, that void, partner is supposed to feel part of it. Friends are supposed to feel part of it. You in yourself, you're supposed to feel part of it. So it's a combination of everything together that makes us whole. And most times um when we don't get it right with ourselves, that's where
Hmm.
the breakdown begins to happen. So you find yourself in a relationship space and you now start asking yourself, what do you believe? Some people go into relationship and feel like, well, if I'm not getting what I want from here, I can get it someplace else.
Mm.
For some people, they would never cheat on their partner or their spouse, in quotes, in the terms
Mm.
of sleeping with someone else, you know, but they would always find that connection somewhere else. And
Yeah.
when they find it, they would maintain that connection. So it's just a combination of everything, really. What you and everything starts from your mind, what you believe in your mind, and what you make up your mind to do.
Mm.
What you make up your mind to do, because at the end of the day, most of the people that cheat know it's not right. They don't want to be cheated on. They don't even
Mhm.
want, they don't want to taste that bitter pill at all. In short, when they taste it, the way they react tells you that they don't want it at all. you know but we give ourselves a lot of excuses. It's not my fault, I'm not getting what I want, things like that. So that's that's the basic thing.
You know, you just raise the point that we'll come back to. I don't want
Hmm.
to go there yet because, truthfully, most cheaters don't like being cheated on.
Hmm.
It's always so painful to them. But let's first dwell on this why. So I
Hmm.
have heard people say, I cannot keep eating the same soup. I need variety.
Hmm.
I've heard some say,
Variety is the spice of
oh,
life.
yes, oh, God bless you. So, is it really possible for somebody to enjoy one relationship, one person, a partner, and not be bored and not want to seek, that variety that these people talk? Let's be realistic. I mean, you've been married for years. I can't remember how many now, but I know it's close to 15 years. I've
Yes,
been
ma'am.
married for 20 something years, Abby. So we've been with the same person all these years.
Hmm.
Do we as human beings not crave for the variety? And I know that it's mostly the men folk. I'm at it again with men today. It's mostly the men's folk that seems to say this. Do women also too not crave variety? Is it not natural to crave variety?
I think I think the same thing is happening to all of us, really. And I know that in some circles it has been said, especially for men, even in those circles where it is not being said to as an excuse for men, if you
Mm,
understand what I mean. There are some
mm,
people that explain it and say that's the excuse for men, right? But there are also certain circles where they explain this thing as it's not an excuse. They're just explaining it to be able to understand why men's own are a bit tougher, or why men's own are a bit more delicate or something like
mm,
that.
mm,
Well, I won't. I would say I don't totally buy into that. You can explain it as a reason, as part of their struggle, which I
mm,
understand. But to now say that Men's own struggle is peculiar. Their own is harder because they are visual human beings.
Mm.
Uh, they are more physical and everything. I don't buy that. I think we are all struggling with the same thing at the same level, if you ask.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
when you say men are visual beings, or how do they put it? The women, unko, women are even more visual beings now. The women are even more visual beings because they begin to look at the man's characteristics. Has he got
Mm.
money? If he has money, the girl is a gunner. Has he got
Mm.
looks? If he's tall, dark, and handsome, women can be visual too.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know so you cannot tell me that the struggle for men is harder because they are visual human beings. Once the woman, she takes off everything, the guy is confused. He's not thinking with his head anymore. I understand that all of those emotions are happening to the guy. I get it, but that does not mean that their struggle is harder than ours.
Mm.
Because as women, we know the kind of things we do. We are just respecting ourselves. We are all just respecting ourselves. It's not like we don't go through these things. All those things that they explain for the man when he's faced with temptation in quotes, the woman goes through it even more, or as equal as man. So I would just say that we're experiencing the same struggle. It might
Mm.
manifest in different ways, but it's still the same struggle that we're experiencing. So you
Okay.
cannot
I've
say,
heard someone say, I'm just trying to bring out some of the reasons so that we can actually deal with them as we can one after the other. I've heard someone talk about the fact that sexual desires are also not the same. So if I marry
that's what
someone,
I'm saying.
if I marry
Mhm,
someone and then they don't have the same sexual desire as me, whether they are
mhm,
higher or they are
mhm.
lower, is what should I do? You know, then maybe I should go and look for help outside because this person cannot satisfy me or what, you
Yeah,
know. So I'm just trying to some of the excuses that me I've heard though.
yeah.
And the one that I think is most common with married people is usually men complaining of women saying no. She's always having headache. She's always complaining that there's one thing or the other that is wrong with her, or she's
Mm,
tired, or she's so just the women's refusal is an excuse for them to be promiscuous or to go out there and to cheat. But are these really genuine excuses? Is there any excuse actually genuine? I don't know.
yeah, that's exactly my point. My point is, whether you're a man or you're a woman, we all have these excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Whether your own may be sexual drive, another person's own may be attention, another person's own may be communication. We all
Mm,
have our demons that we are dealing with. So you cannot tell me that your own demon is more than my own. It has
mm,
been equally shared. These demons have been equally shared to us all, and is intentional.
mm,
Let me explain. The reason why it's
mhm.
intentional, first of all, that's why we need to understand relationship and the author of relationships. You need
Yeah.
to go back to God and understand why God created relationship and the way in which He fashioned relationship. Everything is tied up to divinity. You know, so when God designed relationship, He designed such a way to like mimic or reflect the relationship we have with the Father, or the relationship between God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit.
Mm,
you know so most times, everything that you need for your relationship is not in you.
mm,
Number one, so that your continuous dependence is on God.
mm,
Number two, so that you'll be able to explore relationship with your partner. That's why you see that opposites attract most times. And even when the same things attract, at the end of the day, when you get into the relationship space, you realize that there are opposites in those same things.
Mm.
So that's one of the reasons for relationship, that dependence, continuous dependence on God, and you, so that it's like saying, so that you're kind of forced to explore the potentials of your own relationship, because we know ourselves as human beings that if we have everything, if we are self-sufficient, we don't need any other person. I don't need him. I can do everything by myself. I'm fine. You know, so that everything is intentional. Those needs, or that void, is intentional. So what you should do ideally when you enter the relationship space, despite the fact that you've been told that your husband cannot, your partner cannot satisfy all your that need, that all that void, your wife cannot do all that void, but we still enter relationship space and keep looking for that 100% satisfaction. So the ideal thing is for you to go back to God, continue to depend on God while you explore the possibilities in your own relationship.
Hmm.
That is why God says to not cheat. Because if God says to go ahead and cheat, you abandon your purpose in
I'm
that
telling you.
relationship and move on to another person's own. So that confine is there.
And you know what is the truth about what you just said is that thing you're searching for, if actually you cannot find it in your marriage and in your partner, I dare say you will not find it elsewhere. This is the reason why those who cheat end up becoming serial cheaters, because you will go to that next one, you will still not find it. You are looking for variety. You have left A to B for variety. Very soon you get tired of B, you start looking for C. Abi, you
Yeah,
get tired of C, you start
variety is
looking for
variety,
variety, the
variety
spice of life.
is relative, and variety is created.
Thank you. It's
So
it's
you can
it's
create variety.
creatable. It's creatable. I think that's what you're looking for. You can create variety in your relationship. You can
Mm.
spice up that relationship. You can make it, new as you want it, rather than do the same old boring things again, and not talk about it, because that's even the worst part. Not communicating to say, look, guy, I'm bored. Me, I'm one woman that know how to say, abeg, look, today I'm not cooking, take me out, date me. If you don't want to plan the date, me, I will use my mouth to ask you, uncle, we need to date. Because the truth is, we have to keep doing those things to spice up the relationship. If you don't do it, yes, you're going to get into a rut. You get a system, monotonous system, and then you start looking for A. And the truth is that A is not going to satisfy B, B will not satisfy C. See, what you see in D, you will not see in A. These are, I'm just saying, different type of relationship up to Z. We are all different. There's no two me. So if you step out of your relationship to another one, you will soon step out from that one into another one if care is not taken. So better for you to create what you're looking for in that relationship that
With
you
your
have.
own.
And it's doable. If your partner has a low sexual, what they call it, libido, you can work on it. There are ways.
But,
I'm not
but you
a
know, but you know, one of the challenges is that, which is always the challenge, in marriages or relationship, is that one person is always willing, the other person isn't willing, or one person is willing 100%, the other person is not willing as much. That
And
not
it
willing
takes two
as
to
much is
tango.
even more frustrating.
And it takes two to tango. It takes
And
two
it
to
takes
work
two
on
to
it.
tango. So that's where the issue is. The issue is, someone is out there now is listening and saying, that's what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. We can make this thing work. We can make it happen. But Madame has said it's not like that. You know, Madame has said this is what she has been following right from beginning,
It's only a
and this is what she
missionary
will
that
follow
should know, and that missionary
till
is where
the
she
end.
will stay. In
You
fact,
know,
if you do any other thing that is different from missionary, she will go to hell. Okay, let's leave that point, because that matter will not finish today. Anyways,
you know.
we have to
So that's
we have to
usually the
try, both of
problem.
us.
how do we handle that, finding ourselves in that space where I
we have to
understand?
teach, Titi, we have to just keep teaching ourselves. Talk about
Mm.
it, you know. If the person is not listening to you, find a counselor, find this. There are sex therapists, for
It
example.
doesn't. They don't want counselor.
They don't want to
She's
go.
she
They
doesn't
don't
want
want
to
to
do
go to
counseling.
counseling. You don't want to go and learn how to do new things.
Mm.
You don't want to learn how to dress better. You don't want to learn how to. You are a man, for example. You are just sleeping with a woman for 10 years. This woman is not. We don't know whether she's enjoying it or not. Whether she herself is, she's just doing it out of no conversation. I don't even know how people marry. Some people marry and don't even discuss their sexual life. If you ask some men now, your wife, does she enjoy sex with you? They don't know. They don't have conversations about it. So that is even where it needs to start from. Let's have the conversation. Let's tell ourselves how we are feeling about these things. Are you happy about it? Before you begin to look for how to jump out of the boat, look for a way
Mhm.
to save your boat. Have a conversation. Me, I don't know why people keep running from counselors and counseling, but I will keep
It's not
recommending
our
it.
style.
There's nothing that is not our style. Anything that
It's
is
not
good,
our call.
we learn every day. We learn every day.
Yeah, I
We
agree.
learn. And anybody, he says, when we stop learning, then we have died. Life is for us to learn. And as we learn every day, we grow, we get better. Nobody that brought the knowledge from heaven or from when they were born. We all learn, we read, we talk, we explore. Okay.
Uh,
Because my time is
some,
already running fast. Let's talk
some
about
people haven't just gotten to that level yet. They just
someone say why dependence on God in the quest of power to be faithful in a relationship is excellent. We must stress the need for the practice of self-control. Self-control. I was going to come there. I was going to come there because in my research, and I was looking at this cheating and cheating in relationships. One major factor that was listed is alcohol, the use of drugs, use of alcohol, the abuse of substances, and I put all of that under the self-control. You drink, get drunk to the point you don't know yourself again, to the point you are removing your clothes, then you sleep with someone, you now blame it on the alcohol. I was drunk. Hello. So where
hmm,
do we start from? Why should you even be drinking and getting drunk? It's lack of self-control. Why would you see a lady? Okay, I'm not trying to be raw, but breast is breast. You have breast at home, then breast pass you. Your neck is turning and turning and turning. You have a man at home, man is man. But when you see a man, your body starts shaking. I know a lady, oh God, all right. A married woman that was always talking about one particular guy some years back. When I see him, my body will be shaking. Ah, ah, somebody's husband, somebody's wife. Why is your body shaking? So we acknowledge that we are human beings, like Titi said from the beginning, and these things are there. But I like that point: self-control, self-control, self-control. Because if you think that marriage is the cure for adultery, you're fooling yourself.
yeah. I was just going to say that the self control starts before the marriage self,
Exactly.
because and that's one of the reasons for sexual. Sometimes we don't understand why things are put in place, and you just feel like you are being restricted, or someone is out there, or God is
It's
up
all
there
your
trying to
fault.
hinder you from enjoying life. So
Mm-hmm.
the self-control things begins from before the marriage, that dating phase, before you begin to date. That's why God talks about keeping the marriage bed um pure. and
Yeah.
or no sex before marriage, because the whole idea is for you to learn that self-control. So while you are
Mm,
dating, the reason why God says no, one of the reasons why God says no sex before marriage is while you're dating, you are beginning to learn that I have this thing. You are beginning to learn it that I have this thing, but I can't touch it yet. You are beginning to learn, train
that
yourself,
discipline.
that
Yeah.
discipline. So that's one of the reasons why God says no sex before marriage. But I think most times people just feel like, it's a rule. If you do, don't do. Mm-mm. So you begin to develop that sense of self-control right from
Even
before.
before.
Yes, even before. Because that's what happens in the marriage relationship. You're talking about sex drive now. So the person that feels deprived sexually, they feel like I have this thing. I can't have it. This thing is mine, but I can't have it. That's where the deprivation comes from. So before the marriage, you need to start training yourself. Even let's leave cheating aside. What happens when your spouse is not available sexually? Probably
Okay. Long distance.
work,
We talked about long
long
distance.
distance,
Yeah,
sickness or one
sickness.
illness or the other. So what do you do at that time? So all those things you do before the marriage is supposed to train you so that, because even in the marriage, you still need the self-control. You still need the self-control. So that's one of the reasons why we need to understand these things very well. And so we know how to apply it when it comes to when we find ourselves in the relationship space. Then another thing is what you believe. Some people just
Mm,
believe it's not a big deal. It's one of those things. Some people just believe it's what men do. That's what women are doing nowadays. So what's there?
yes.
So
It's what
that's
makes you a
another.
complete man. The ability to
Mhm,
marry and
yeah,
still keep a side chick, to be able to boast about the fact
yes,
that you are married and you can keep a side chick. Some people think
exactly.
that is what makes you a
So,
man.
mhm.
It's sad. Anyways, okay. Now, one small question before I go to the main or the other main thing I want us to talk about, because we've spent last week and this week talking about the problem. I would like us to really talk about some solution. But before we go there, a question came to my mind, and this is a question someone has asked me before in counseling. Say, how can he cheat on me if he loves me?
Hmm.
So is it possible for someone to love someone and still cheat on them?
Oh yes, 100%.
How?
100%.
How can you cheat on the person you love?
100%. It depends on what we begin to define as love. And when people ask this question, the love they talk about is emotional feelings. How can he have feelings for me? And he says he has feelings for another person. How can I be showering me with gifts? That's the love they talk about. But to love someone and not cheat is commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I'm feeling it or I'm not feeling it, whether the butterfly is still there
I
or is
like
not
that.
there, you know. So it depends on what you define as love. If you see love as those emotions, butterflies, gift, vacation, all those things, then yes, it's possible. He will love you, or he will tell you, or she will tell you that she loves you and still cheat on you. But true love, the real test of true love is commitment. You are saying, I am committed to you. That commitment means that I can feel it, I cannot feel it. When I feel it, it is you. When I don't feel it, it is you, no matter what. And that is where the real issue is. You know, that commitment is lacking. Even from the beginning of the relationship for most people, when they begin to date. Because when people date, they don't really think about commitment. They just think about feelings. Anytime I see this girl, the way she's making me feel, like I think she's the one, you know, and you go ahead and you start the relationship like that. You enter marriage, you start the marriage with feelings that so the moment she stops making you feel that way, you start telling yourself, it's like I'm not feeling it anymore. And like I need to go and feel it somewhere else. As in, I'm not feeling it anymore. I have to go find it somewhere else. So that's where the cheating, that's where the cheating comes from.
Yeah, yeah,
But when
yeah.
you
I
understand that this thing is commitment, whether this
mm,
person is treating me right or not, I have to stay committed. Then begin to find ways on how to solve the problem. And most times these things take time. That's why it's
mm.
important the kind of person you marry. You cannot say, no problem, we'll marry. When you enter, it takes time for most. Yes, nowadays people talk about don't die in the marriage, don't do this, if it's treating, but these things take time. Before you get to that point of don't die in the marriage, time would have passed. So it's still important for you to take your time and choose right, So that's just that's that. So it's the commitment thing
I
we
now
need
I
to
get
look for.
now I like what you said about the fact that it's a feeling thing for some people, and feelings are fleeting. Feelings are fleeting. Feelings are not dependable. If you go by how you feel, there are so many times when you don't feel loved, you don't feel right, you don't feel it's okay, you don't feel, you know, you don't feel it, you're not feeling it. But what will keep you in it is the commitment to say it's a choice. I've made a choice to be with this person, to love this person regardless of how I feel, regardless of, whatever. This is the person I have chosen, and then be able to stick to it. God help all of us. That's just all I'm going to say. And not make any irresponsible and thoughtless decisions, because in the long run, it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes of what you would call enjoyment that can destroy years of trust, years of love, years of work, years of commitment, years of something beautiful. So better to give ourselves that self-control, to respect our commitment to that person that we say we love, if we truly love someone. I don't ever believe, and some people tell you, well, as long as he's treating me right, some people tell you, as long as he's treating me right, it's fine. It's not fine. It's not
Yeah,
fine,
I
because
heard
he's treating
something
me
like that in an interview. A lady was being interviewed and she mentioned that so long as he does not bring the cheating to her face, so long as he does not rub it in her face, she's okay, because she felt like men will always be men. That was her thing. That's when she explained it. That was her
right.
line
Okay.
of thinking. Men
What
will
about
always be men. So let him just do his man thing outside there. He shouldn't
uh,
bring it to my face. I'm
what
fine with that.
what about STDs? If he doesn't bring it to her face, he will bring it to her body. What
Mm-hmm.
about STDs? What about unwanted children that are out there that will show up on the day of funeral?
No, she's accepted it. She's ready to accept that any,
that
as
that
in,
that
it's
all that
one of the
can happen.
things that men do. So I mean, if an unwanted child shows up, oh well.
I know a couple many years ago that the man left like that. He didn't just cheat, he left, went about his life, whatever it is he thought was a problem in the marriage. He left the woman for a long time, and after a while came back, and people, started trying to, they had only a child then, started trying to talk to this woman, encourage her to reconcile and take him back and blah blah blah. And she did take him back. They were not smart enough. I think maybe if it's this age, people will be smart enough to talk of, let's run some tests or whatever. She took him back, and this guy came back with HIV and infested her. 2 years down the line, she became sick, and then that's when they discovered, oh, she has HIV. They checked the man or checked her. Okay. Anyways, the two people that I'm talking about are dead now. They both died, and the child was left alone. So I want to talk about how we can mend. This is a mend a mend fences side. We always talk about how we can fix and how we can repair. That's our goal here. So I've been cheated upon. How do we go from there? How do we move? How do we mend? But before we talk about this, I want to put out a caveat. I am not talking about serial cheating here now. I am not asking you to mend relationship with a serial cheater, because the what do you call them, the consequences that come along with that might be too grave for you.
mm,
But let's say someone makes a mistake and steps out. How do we fix it? How do we get the relationship back? How do we repair and forgive and move on?
mm. I think one of the steps to mending that kind of relationship is, um, even though we've said it over and over, it's beginning to sound like some kind of cliche, is for both parties to have a conversation.
Yeah,
You cannot under be overestimate the power of having a meaningful conversation in a relationship
I
or in a
agree.
marriage. If
I
we
agree.
have these meaningful conversations, more than half of the marriages that are broken or that have ended today wouldn't have ended.
Mm,
Now, what I mean by meaningful conversation is to acknowledge what the problem is, come up with solutions, practical solutions, and
mm-hmm,
probably hold yourself accountable to those solutions. And from time to time, you review it and see how each party is doing. And that sounds like a lot, which is
mm,
why which is where counseling comes in. Because when there's cheating, the person that's been cheated on is broken.
yeah,
So you're not in the right frame of mind to start thinking properly, or no matter how strong you think you are.
yes,
And when you are the person that cheated, you've cheated on somebody, you can never really grasp the impact that, especially if the other person hasn't cheated. Even when the other person has cheated, is a bitter pill that even if you are dishing it out, you don't want to swallow.
mm-hmm,
So when that cheating has happened, you that cheated, please understand that you would never be able to grasp the impact that cheating has will have on your partner or on your spouse.
yeah,
And
yeah,
again,
yeah,
that's where counseling comes in. So for some people, and this group of people are very rare, depending on the level of cheating, for some
mm,
people, they can still come together by themselves and decide, okay, this is what has happened. These are the things we need to put in place. We'll review these practical things we need to put in place. We'll review this in a couple of months and see how
mm,
each of us are doing. But for
mm-hmm,
so many people, it's a lot to cope with, because you are coping with your emotions. You're not thinking of solution. You're not in the right frame of mind. And that is where
yeah,
counseling comes. Counseling is very, very key. If that does not happen, it will never be the same again. I don't believe that when cheating happens in a relationship, um, the relationship cannot become better. It can, but the problem is the steps you now have to take. That counseling has to happen. If it doesn't happen, it will never, no matter how the other party is pretending, it will never be the same again.
mm, mm.
So that's the
Okay. Okay, so I fantastic point. Number one, have a meaningful. So I've added honest to your
yeah.
meaningful conversation, because sometimes we say we are having a conversation, but we're not really honest about our feelings. Let it out. Tell your partner how you feel, how they've made you feel by cheating on you. No need to pretend about it. It's not a crying thing. No, you did this to me. No, 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 no. Express your emotions, how you feel, how it's made you feel. For some people, it creates a feeling of self-doubt in them. It creates in them a feeling of not being enough, a feeling of insecurity in the relationship. Of course, we know that that is trust that is broken. So have a meaningful and honest conversation about it. Then give time for healing. Titi said give time. It's going to take time, love, and tenderness. Lots of it. Don't say, I've apologized now. The thing no dey finish. Is it because of this thing that I did? am I the first? Men are always cheating now. Am I the first man to cheat? Or women are always cheating. Am I the first man to cheat? Then expect that this person will automatically just flip over the chapter, flip the page and move on because you've apologized. And in apologizing, be sincere with your apology. Don't apologize. There's a way some people apologize. I'm sorry that I did this thing to you, but if you had not done like this, I would not have done like this. That's not an apology, people. It's not an apology.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I made you feel that way.
I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Not I'm sorry that I'm owning
I
it.
did
That what
this to you.
I'm sorry I did this to you. No, no, no. There are two different things. It's just the way you feel. So making it look like it's just you who feels it. It's not because what I've
Exactly.
done is bad. Any apology that is not sincere would be insulting the person that has been offended. So don't even give it. But apologize sincerely, give time for healing, and then I put here build, seek counsel. Of course, Titi says seek counsel. That one we keep talking about it. Some people keep running from counsel. Well, even in the Bible, it says in the multitude of counsel there is safety. It did not say inside one or two counsel. It said in the multitude. Do you know what the meaning of multitude is?
A lot.
A lot of it. So when you go for counsel, you have to go again. You have to go again. The truth is that there, there's something a third eye, a trained third eye can see. When they talk to you, you may not see it. You may not be able to understand, like Titi was saying now, the gravity of how you've offended this person, the meaning of the level of hurt that this has brought upon your partner. But in counseling, when you sit down and you hear it from, a neutral party, you get a clearer view. And that helps. It helps. It helps. It does help people. Stop running from counseling. Seek counsel. And then I put here build trust again. And this one I think is maybe the hardest part of it. Maybe it's the hardest part of it because this will now take time. If you are the one that has cheated on your spouse before and now you are hiding chats, you are not building trust. Oh, it will be hard for your partner not to think that the reason you are hiding that chat is because you are at it again.
Or you've
You
not
are
broken off
at
completely.
it again. Or maybe you did not even end the one you were doing before.
You're still telling yourself that you can handle it, that it's not a big deal. So
So
you don't break off completely. You still maintain that relationship and tell yourself, okay, no, I won't sleep with him again. But I can't just yes. When you begin to when you tell yourself a lie for so long, it start becoming your truth, and you start believing it for real. So you tell yourself that everything has ended. We're just friends now. Please, you can never be just friends with whoever it is you have cheated on. You need to completely break, maybe in your next life,
yes,
or maybe 10 years down the line, but within that sphere and that space, it can never be again, because someone else's, just like I'm talking about building trust, we need to build that thing completely. We need to
yeah,
rebuild. We're starting from scratch again. So we
I
need to
agree.
scatter everything and start to
Exactly.
rebuild.
And start
You
afresh
know,
and start from the scratch to build, and rebuild trust. And this will take more work on the part of the cheater. If you are the one who has cheated on someone, the onus rest on you more to be able to say, I want to build that trust again, and to go away from all forms of deceit, all shades of deceit, any iota of deceit. Nobody's perfect, but make a conscious effort to build that trust again, that this person can see you and say, okay, now I trust you. I trust that when you say you are going, you are really going, and where you are going is where you are going. And I think the last part for me is for the person who's been cheated on. I think you should wait. Ask yourself if it's something you can deal with. Not everyone can forgive cheating, no. Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. That is why even the Bible recognizes it as the reason somebody can divorce. Because it's so painful to some people, they can't forgive it, they can't forget it. Even if they sit with you in the house, they actually, they're still there, but they are not there. So you that they've cheated on, weigh it. Tell yourself, be sincere. Is this something I can deal with? Is this something I can forgive? Is this something I can work with my partner to move past and build trust and build relationship again? And if you have agreed and you've told yourself that yes, I can do it, I can forgive, then make sure you really, really forgive. Don't start throwing it back in their
Takes
face
time. It
and
takes
holding
time.
it. And I know with it will take time, but then over time, don't begin to continue to hold it over their head.
Mm.
So this person is really trying now. They are making the effort to build the trust. They are being open. They're having open and honest communication with you. They are telling you where they are at every time. You don't have any, but you are still looking for, reason. You're still looking for reason. You're still looking for reason. And who did he greet? Who did he talk to? Why did he stay long talking to that sister in church? What were they greeting about? Then you both will not be able to move past it. So it's both ways. The person who's cheated, take responsibility, be honest about it, accept your mistake, give time for healing, seek the healing by going for counsel, try to build trust in a relationship again. And the person who's been cheated on should weigh it. If you come and say, you've cheated on me, oh, I don't think I can take it, oh, and we cannot continue this relationship or this marriage again. We'll tell you, okay, the Lord help you, sister. The Lord help you, brother. It's better than to sit inside and pretend to have forgiven, but you have not moved past it. Because in the long run, you will not still enjoy you will not enjoy that relationship fully, and the other person will also not enjoy. You will not be able to give yourself fully in the relationship. That's just what I'm trying to say. I know it's going to take time. The person is not just going to, do a 360 degrees and have amnesia and forget that, you cheated yesterday. But let both of us, if we've agreed to forgive ourselves and to move on, let it be work for the both of us. Let's work together to heal, you know, and to just rebuild the relationship again. All right. That's my own words. Any last statement, Titi? We have a few minutes to go.
I'll just say that when it comes to cheating or not cheating, I think we need to begin to understand that we are all going through the same struggle. Whether you're a man or you're a woman, the fact that you're a man or a woman does not mean that your struggles are more or your struggles are
Yeah,
less. We are all going through the same struggles. We can all come up with the same excuses.
exactly.
So let us all just be respecting ourselves and start looking into, yes, and start looking into this commitment thing.
I like that.
If you don't know what commitment is, go and find out what commitment is. Don't say it's because satisfaction. I'm not saying, yeah, all of us, we are not we are not all satisfied 100%. We are not all getting the attention we need 100%. We are not
Yeah,
all getting all the our idea of love 100%. So that's what I mean by it is the same struggle. So let's just invest more into commitment. How can I be committed? What does it mean to be committed? That's just it.
I agree. Totally. I agree. I remember my husband saying to me one time that it's of recent I discovered that women need to check out men. Oh. And I looked at him, I said, what do you mean? He said, there are some women making, talking, and they were saying, look at that man. He's
Hmm.
handsome, like this, that. So women do things like, I say, you think it's only men? That when a woman they will objectify
Yeah.
the woman. They'll just,
Mhm.
see that. And they'll say, fine woman. Oh, it's because of the way she dressed. Or it's because of the way. No. That
Hmm.
body that is shaking you, it shakes both men and women. That's what it is saying.
Exactly. My
The,
point
the,
exactly. We are all feeling it together. We are all in
It's
this
jiggy
thing
that is
together.
jigging you.
It's jigging all of
It's
us together.
both men and women, but
Yes,
we
let's just
must
respect
learn
ourselves.
self-control, as our professor said this evening. Totally,
Yeah.
self-control is the key. We must learn to control ourselves. We must learn to remember that we've made a commitment to one person and to try and stay committed to that
Mm-hmm.
one person, and
Yeah.
do away with all those things that are your excuses, whether they are addictions, whether they are loss of fondness, low self-esteem, high drive, low drive, medium drive. These
No
excuses
drive.
right there, or no drive at all. Whichever one. Please find the drive. I don't know where the drive is, whether it's okay, let's not go into that. All right, people, thank you so much. We've I think we've now dealt with this topic well enough. However, if you still have any questions, you have any points you want to raise, please feel free. After we've gone live, the video is always there. You can always watch, share it, tell your friends about it, and someone might learn one or two things from, you know, what we've talked about today. Thank you so much, Titi. Thank you, everyone who's come on with your comments, who have joined, you know, from YouTube, from Facebook and Instagram. Thank you all for joining. I see you all. New subscribers, welcome to the family. We always welcome you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tell your friends about the platform. Next week, I am bringing a CEO extraordinary to the love seat. This woman will blow your mind. She is young, she's enterprising, she is God fearing, and I want the world to see the man behind her, because most people know her husband is always camera shy. But I got them to the love seat, and they will be here next week. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe, join us on the love seat next week by the grace of God, as we bring a fantastic couple to tell you their love story. Thank you so much again, Titi. Thank you, everyone. Have a love filled week, people. I love you all. Bye.